You've probably noticed it before. That moment when a small disagreement spirals into something bigger, something that feels unnecessary. Maybe she's upset about a forgotten text or a tone you didn't even realize you used. You're left wondering, why does this keep happening? Why does it feel like she's picking a fight out of nowhere? Let's talk about that, because it's not random, and it's not just her being difficult. There's something deeper at play, something wired into the way men and women experience emotions differently. Women often crave emotional intensity in a way that can feel foreign to you, and that intensity is what fuels these moments of conflict. It's not about solving a problem. It's about feeling alive, connected, and engaged in the relationship. Here's the thing. Women's brains are wired to seek emotional stimulation. It's not a flaw. It's biology. Back in evolutionary times, a woman's survival often depended on keeping a man's attention and commitment. If she could spark his emotions, whether through joy, passion, or even conflict, she knew he was invested. That emotional engagement meant protection, resources, and security for her and her children. Fast forward to today, and that same wiring still hums beneath the surface. Modern life might be safer, but her nervous system still craves that spark, that rush of feeling that says, this matters. Conflict, as strange as it sounds, can be one of the most reliable ways to get it. Think about it. When things are calm and predictable, you might feel content, like everything's on track. But for her, that same calm can feel like stagnation. It's not that she doesn't want peace. She does. But her psychology interprets emotional intensity as connection. When life gets too quiet, her brain starts looking for ways to stir things up, not because she's unhappy, but because she needs to feel something. It's like her emotions are a fire that needs fuel, and conflict is a quick way to make it burn brighter. That's why a small issue, like you leaving dishes in the sink, can turn into a full-blown argument. It's not really about the dishes, it's about generating that emotional heat. Now, let's be clear. This isn't about her being irrational or manipulative on purpose. Most women aren't sitting there plotting to start a fight. It's more like an unconscious pull, a need for stimulation that her biology demands. Her nervous system is more sensitive to emotional nuances than yours, and it's built for sustained emotional processing. While you might see an argument as stressful and draining, she might experience it as energizing, even necessary. It's not that she loves fighting. It's that the intensity of conflict makes her feel connected to you in a way that calm conversations sometimes don't. This difference can be maddening, I know. You're wired to seek equilibrium, to solve problems and get back to calm. Your brain kicks into fix-it mode when conflict arises, aiming to shut it down as quickly as possible. But for her, the goal isn't always resolution. It's engagement. She's not trying to win the fight. She's trying to feel something with you. That's why your logical solutions, like calmly explaining why the dishes aren't a big deal, can frustrate her more. You're trying to end the stress, but she's chasing the stimulation. It's like you're playing different games with different rules. This dynamic explains why periods of peace in a relationship can sometimes feel like the calm before the storm. When things are too stable for too long, she might start to feel restless, like something's missing. That restlessness isn't about you failing as a partner. It's about her brain craving the emotional intensity it's programmed to seek. Conflict becomes a way to break through the monotony, to create a moment where you're both fully present, fully focused on each other. It's not logical, but it's human. Here's where it gets tricky. Because women's brains are so attuned to emotional intensity, they can become almost addicted to the rush that conflict brings. It's not just about the fight itself. It's about the biochemical rewards that come with it. When she argues, her brain releases stress hormones and neurotransmitters that create a kind of emotional high. It's why she might seem energized, even happy, after a heated exchange, while you're left exhausted, wondering what just happened. This isn't her being cruel. It's her biology responding to the stimulation she's been craving. The kicker? This pattern doesn't just affect her. It shapes how you interact. When she starts a fight, you might notice how your focus shifts entirely to her. Your phone goes down, your work gets paused, and suddenly, she's got your full attention. From her perspective, conflict works. It pulls you in, makes you present in a way that casual conversation might not. And that's the heart of it. She's not fighting to push you away. She's fighting to feel closer to you. Understanding this doesn't make the arguments less frustrating, but it does give you a lens to see them differently. She's not trying to make your life harder. She's responding to a deep, instinctual need for connection. The challenge is figuring out how to meet that need without getting caught in endless cycles of drama. We'll get there, but first, let's dive deeper into how these conflicts play out and what they're really achieving. So, we've talked about why women might spark conflict. It's not just chaos for chaos's sake. It's about that emotional intensity they crave. But let's zoom in on what happens during these moments and why they can feel like a tug of war for your attention. You see, when she starts an argument, it's not always about the issue at hand. Often, it's a way to pull you into her world, to make sure you're fully present. In a world where you're juggling work, screens, and a million distractions, conflict becomes her way of cutting through the noise. It's like a shortcut to your focus, and it's rooted in how women use emotional intensity to shape relationship dynamics. Picture this. You're scrolling through your phone, maybe half listening to her talk about her day. She tries to engage you, but you're distracted, nodding along without really connecting. Then, out of nowhere, she brings up something small, like how you didn't notice her new haircut. Suddenly, you're in a heated discussion, and your phone's forgotten. You're locked in, giving her your full attention. From her perspective, that conflict worked. It got you to focus on her in a way that pleasant chit-chat didn't. It's not that she planned it this way. It's more like her instincts know that drama gets results. This isn't just about getting your eyes off your screen. It's about something deeper. Attention as a currency in relationships. Women have learned, consciously or not, that conflict is a powerful tool to capture and hold your focus. When she feels ignored or sidelined, a fight becomes the nuclear option to bring you back. And here's the thing, it's not just about the moment. It's about testing how much you care. If you get upset, frustrated, or even angry, it shows you're invested. Your emotional reaction proves she matters to you. But if you stay calm and detached, it can feel to her like you're checking out, like she's not important enough to stir your emotions. This dynamic comes from a primal place. Back when survival depended on a man's commitment, a woman needed to know her partner was still in emotionally. If he got riled up when she pushed his buttons, it meant he was still invested. If he brushed her off, it could signal he was pulling away, maybe even preparing to leave. Today, that same instinct plays out, even though the stakes aren't life or death. When you react to her provocations, it reassures her that you're still there, still committed. That's why, after a big fight, she might seem oddly calm or even affectionate. Your reaction gave her the emotional proof she needed, letting her relax. But here's where it gets messy. This pattern can turn into a kind of control mechanism. When she sees that conflict gets your attention, it becomes a tool to steer your behavior. You might find yourself changing plans, dropping what you're doing, or even adjusting how you act to avoid another argument. Suddenly, she's got a remote control for your priorities. It's not always intentional. Most women aren't scheming to manipulate you, but it's effective. Over time, she learns that creating a problem gets her what she wants, whether it's your time, your focus, or even a change in how you act. This control dynamic can shift the balance of power in the relationship. The person who decides when fights start, how they escalate, and when they end, holds a lot of sway over the emotional climate. If she's the one initiating these conflicts, she's setting the tone, and you're reacting to her lead. It's like she's directing the emotional script, and you're playing the role she's cast you in. Every time you engage in the drama, you reinforce the pattern, teaching her that conflict is a reliable way to get your attention or meet her needs. There's another layer here: validation. When she pushes you into an argument and you react, it's proof that she has the power to affect you. That's huge for her. It's not just about attention. It's about knowing she's significant enough to move you emotionally. If you stay cool and logical, she might escalate things further, not because she's trying to torture you, but because she's looking for that emotional spark that says, "You matter to me." Your calm responses, as reasonable as they seem to you, can feel like rejection to her, like she's not worth getting worked up over. This is why ignoring her or withdrawing from the fight often backfires. You think you're de-escalating, but to her, it feels like abandonment. Her fear of being unimportant kicks in, and she doubles down, pushing harder to get a reaction. It's a cycle. She creates drama to feel connected. You pull back to keep the peace, and that distance makes her push even more. Before you know it, you're both caught in a loop that neither of you fully understands. Here's the tough part. This pattern can become addictive for her. The emotional high from conflict, the adrenaline, the intensity, creates a biochemical reward in her brain. While you're left feeling drained, she might feel alive, even satisfied. It's not that she enjoys making you miserable. It's that her nervous system is getting what it craves. Over time, she might need bigger conflicts to get the same rush, like any addiction. That's why small disagreements can balloon into something much bigger. It's not just about the issue, it's about chasing that emotional high. This dynamic isn't just about her, though. It's about how you respond, too. Every time you get pulled into the drama, you're feeding the cycle. But there's a way to break it without shutting her out or surrendering your peace. It starts with understanding what she's really after: connection, validation, intensity, and finding ways to meet those needs without letting conflict run the show. That's where we're headed next. All right, we've dug into why women might spark conflict and how it becomes a tool for attention and control. It's a lot to process, I know. Feeling like you're caught in a cycle of drama can be exhausting. But here's the good news. You can navigate this without losing your sanity or enabling destructive patterns. It's about understanding her needs while staying grounded in your own emotional strength. Let's talk about how to manage these dynamics, offer her the connection she craves, and build a healthier relationship without letting conflict take over. First, let's get one thing straight. You can't eliminate her need for emotional intensity. It's wired into her biology, just like your preference for calm and problem-solving is wired into yours. Trying to fix her or stop her from seeking that spark is like trying to stop the tide from coming in. It's not going to happen. Instead, the key is to redirect that need for intensity into something positive. Think of it like this. She's looking for a fire to light up her emotional world. Conflict is one way to get it, but it's not the only way. You can provide that spark through adventure, passion, or shared challenges that don't involve arguing over who forgot to take out the trash. For example, plan something that gets both your hearts racing. A spontaneous road trip, a hike with a killer view, or even a playful debate about something light, like the best movie of all time. These moments give her the emotional high she's seeking without the stress of a fight. It's about creating opportunities for connection that feel alive and engaging. When you lean into these positive outlets, you're meeting her need for intensity while keeping things constructive. It's not about replacing every argument with a grand gesture, but about balancing the quiet moments with bursts of excitement that keep her feeling connected. Now, here's a big one. Stop rewarding conflict with emotional reactions. I know it's tempting to get pulled into the heat of the moment. When she's upset, your instinct might be to match her energy, argue back, or try to fix the problem. But every time you do that, you're reinforcing the idea that drama gets your attention. Instead, try staying calm and present without taking the bait. Acknowledge her feelings. Say something like, "I see you're upset, and I want to understand what's going on." But don't let yourself get swept up in the storm. This shows you're engaged without feeding the cycle of conflict. It's tough at first, especially when she's pushing for a reaction, but over time, it teaches her that drama isn't the only way to reach you. Setting boundaries is crucial here. You can validate her emotions without letting arguments dominate your relationship. For instance, if she's escalating a small issue, you might say, "I'm happy to talk about this, but let's keep it respectful and figure out what's really bothering you." This sets a clear line. You're open to connection, but you're not signing up for endless drama. It also invites her to dig deeper into what's driving her. Often, it's not the surface issue, but a need for reassurance or attention. By addressing the root cause calmly, you're helping her feel heard without letting the fight take over. Here's where self-awareness comes in. You've got to protect your own emotional sovereignty, your ability to stay centered no matter what's happening around you. If you're constantly reacting to her provocations, you're handing over control of your emotional state. Practice staying grounded, maybe through mindfulness or just taking a moment to breathe before responding. This doesn't mean shutting her out or being cold. It means showing up as a steady presence. When you're not rattled by her emotional waves, you're showing her that connection doesn't have to come from chaos. It's a powerful way to break the cycle. Sometimes, though, you'll run into a hard truth. Not every woman can shift away from conflict as a primary way to feel connected. Some are so wired for drama, whether because of past experiences or their own emotional makeup, that peace feels like punishment to them. If you're in a relationship where conflict is constant and nothing you do seems to change the pattern, it might be time to ask yourself if this is sustainable. Your mental health isn't negotiable. A relationship shouldn't feel like a battlefield where you're always dodging emotional landmines. If she can't meet you halfway, it might be a sign to walk away, as tough as that is. The goal isn't to change her biology or force her into your way of doing things. It's about finding a balance where both of you can thrive. You can't eliminate her need for emotional intensity, but you can influence how it shows up. Encourage open conversations about what makes her feel connected. Maybe it's deep talks, shared goals, or moments of passion. By understanding what drives her, you can offer alternatives to conflict that satisfy both of you. It's like redirecting a river. You're not stopping the flow, just guiding it somewhere less destructive. Ultimately, this dynamic reveals a deeper truth about love and relationships. Men and women often speak different emotional languages. Her need for intensity isn't a flaw, just like your need for stability isn't a weakness. The challenge is learning to translate those needs into something that strengthens your bond instead of tearing it apart. When you approach her conflicts with empathy and strategy, rather than frustration or avoidance, you're building a relationship that's resilient, not reactive. As I think about this, I can't help but reflect on how universal these patterns are. We're all navigating this dance of emotions, trying to connect in ways that make sense to us. For me, understanding this dynamic has been like flipping on a light switch. It doesn't solve everything, but it makes the path clearer. If this resonates with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you seen these patterns in your own relationships? What's worked for you in navigating them? Share your stories in the comments on the HM Stories and Philosophy channel. And don't forget to subscribe so we can keep exploring these ideas together. Your voice matters, and I'm excited to see where this conversation takes us.